Howdy y'all, today I'll be going over trend lines. Let's get to it. Alrighty, so another very beginner basic video. We're going to go up to drawings here. We're going to go down to drawing tools. We're going to go right here to this line. It's going to say trend line. We're going to go to click on that. And trend lines can be put in any which direction to help you figure out what the stock's doing, what price you want to get in or out of, the equity or security. But for all intents and purposes today, I'm kind of going over support and resistance lines. Yes, it can be used, channels, all kinds of other things as support resistance lines. It doesn't have to be just a singular trend line, but it's a very good, easy, simple way to start learning support and resistance lines. So right here, I'm just going to click once, and I'm going to make an exactly horizontal line. I'm not going to have it going up or down as much as possible. I'm going to have it as flat as I can get it. And what I'm looking at is, when does a stock go up and touch it without the candle itself crossing over? The wicks can go over, but as long as it comes back down and creates a candle below or above, that's what I'm looking at. Or if there are big moves going above or below this certain line. And it can be placed in multiple spots. We will be doing that in just a moment. But I'm looking at this right here where it keeps going above it, but it doesn't finish above it. It keeps coming back down. And to me, this is showing it's a resistance line. It's trying to go up. It's trying to do better, but it's hitting resistance. So this right here is resistance line. Once it finally punches through overnight, it's above and it's coming back down. Eventually it punches below. This is a support line. Right here, we can see the support that it has. It's very short-lived. It goes back below overnight, still below. Next day, it comes above and again below. Following day, it's above. It's coming up and down, but as you can see, this is a support line at this point. It is supporting these candles. It's above them. It's keeping them up. They're not all coming down and touching everything, but it's plain as day. This is a support line. But then it punches below the following day, and this is now a resistance line. We can see it comes up, down, up, and just goes down after that. This right here becomes a resistance line. It is all the same line. You all saw it. I only made one line, but this certain price at $59.50, going along the quarters, the halves, the dollars, a lot of them are support and resistance lines. So when I mean quarters, halves, and dollars, we can see $59.50, that's 50 cents. If we want to go to 75 cents going along the quarters, try and get 75 here. Well, close enough, 76. And get it even again. There we go. So we can see this is close to being support resistance line. It's not as defined. The quarters are less defined. The tens, fives, the evens, they're even less and less defined. But we can see the dollar here going up to $60, support and resistance line. It only really proves it once, but I can see it here as well. Same thing if we go to 59 even. So this line right here, and we'll do the quarter just so that it's all laid out for $1's worth. Alrighty, so these are all exactly parallel lines. I may have had them just off by a penny or two, one direction or another, but a true support and resistance line is parallel for this. A lot of times they can be angled, but they will be parallel. They don't have to be horizontal. They don't have to, certainly won't be vertical, but they will be parallel in some form or fashion, even if there's multiples that intersect. Yes, that sounds contradictory. Right now we're just staying with basics. This is a basics beginner video. And we can see it comes up punches through this whole support resistance line area. But later, this resistance line, or excuse me, support line, is now resistance line. We can see it's trying to get through. It's struggling. It comes back down. It just can't handle it. Goes back, can't handle the 50, figures out can't handle the 25, and it's back down. And we can keep doing support and resistance lines all the way down, and it'll just keep showing you that this particular stock, which is Dow Industrials, I just picked this at random, it does have the support and resistance line. You can see it bounces in between these lines. Now, yes, it can be fabricated where someone can say these are support resistance lines. There are times where there aren't any visible support resistance lines. I'm choosing this stock at random, but something that shows what support and resistance lines are. There are some folks that say no matter what the stock chart is, there's support resistance lines. You can figure it out. I don't believe that to be true. But again, I'm not a follower. I do my own thing. I don't listen to what everyone else says. I just plow my own path through the field. So right here, we can see it's going up and down between the 50s, but then it's staying in this quarter. It goes up to the 50 and it's staying in this quarter. It goes into this quarter, can't handle it, it's back down here, going up and down, and then punches back below that support line. So trend lines, they're very useful. Again, it's up here in drawings. You go to drawing tools, you go over here to the singular diagonal line, and when you hover over it, it'll highlight and say trend line. And you can do trend lines to where they're this way. You can have them going down. It's just whichever way you want it to. You can make them intersect. You can do whatever you want them to do. But hopefully whatever you do with them, it's helpful and helps make you money. I find it to be very beneficial. Yes, channels work very well for this, but sometimes I just want a basic trend line. I'm not worried too much about a support line if there really is one. I want to see where that trend is going for support or resistance. So just say there's a resistance line here somewhere and I'm not sure where it is. I don't really care. I want to see where the support line is. Sometimes I want to see where the resistance line is going downward. It really doesn't matter where the support is. I want to see if I'm trying to get out of something really quick, where that resistance line is, and that support just doesn't matter. In the long run, yes, it does, but for some of the trades I do, it really doesn't. But that's just me. That's how I trade. But if I'm right here and I'm seeing it's hitting this line consistently, I will draw out some trend lines and see what it's doing on an actual line. So it's laid out. I can see where it is, because what if it keeps going in this direction? Once it punches below this, then that's time to get out because it's broken that trend line. And just because it's not in the middle of all these candles doesn't mean it's not a trend line. I'm not putting this right, as an example, right in the middle of these. It can happen. I normally don't do that. It just doesn't work too well for me. I've never had great success with drawing it through the candles. I like doing the support resistance, either or, both, and whatever's in that specific scenario for buying, selling. And right here, this would be where am I trying to buy and where would I want to sell. So is it going to come back down when it hits this line? That might be a good buying opportunity. Might be. But at this point right here looks very similar to this point. Same thing with here. It touches this trend line almost. This one's a little bit further away. This one's further yet. When it finally hits, it punches through. It just can't handle the support line. So yes, trend lines are very beneficial. I use them quite a bit. Not all the time, but I do use them because I like to see everything laid out. What's going on? Just say we're doing more lines here. We can say, I know these two are off, but they're not meant to be lined up. This could be another resistance line. It's hitting, and now it's a support. Now it's consolidating. Now it's a resistance. Punches through, could be a support, but it's not. So trend lines, I think they're great. I like using them. It's a tool that is extremely helpful. Thinkorswim here, which is now, it used to be under TD Ameritrade, but it's now under Schwab. It's very beneficial, very helpful, and I really enjoy using the trend line. It's something that a lot of beginners can get used to, get their feet wet with drawing something on the chart. And if you want it all to go away, you just right click and you go to undo add trend line, it will take away your first one. But there's also where you can clear drawing set. And you click that, it'll come up with a little tab. I don't think it's being shown by the screen recording, but it'll take away all of your drawings at once. So it's very helpful if you're a beginner and you're trying to get used to this. Trend lines can be very beneficial as long as you use them properly. If you use them improperly, it will hurt you a lot more than it will ever help. So practice with them, see where you need trend lines, practice putting them on the chart, because it does take a little while to get used to them. But once you get used to it, it's super easy. It's not too difficult at all. But practice with it, see what you can do with it, have some fun, and use it on different stocks, different charts, 1-year charts, 2-day charts, 1-day chart for the last hour. Sometimes that's needed. So that's the trend line. Just want to go over it. Something super basic, very simple, something nice and easy to get into and learn. And hope y'all enjoyed it. There'll be more content like this coming out very soon. So make sure you hit that notification bell if you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified of all videos coming up in the future. And I'll see y'all in the next video.